Hi everyone and welcome. Today's video is something that I called Detrimental Voices and Self-Condemnation. And these are really just about us being able to battle some of the internal voices that really speak so much negativity into our life that have a way of even keeping us stagnant. And I do believe that this is something that a lot of people are dealing with a lot of the times in silence, right? And so I really wanted to offer some insight, kind of open up a dialogue even about this stuff, and really just help you get started and maybe offer some tools that you might be able to use in relation to this topic. So I'll get right into it. So first I'll start off with just identifying some possible sources of where the voices even come from and how like before we even really start internalizing all of this stuff, right? So it can come from, I think, most commonly family. It can come from a significant other. It could even be from like society in some way, and certain observations that we make about society and where they kind of how society would kind of categorize you based on like your demographic. And if you kind of don't necessarily fit into that bucket, you can kind of feel certain things. And just in general, even when you compare yourself, and there's this whole keeping up with the Joneses thing. And so those are some roots that I've personally been able to identify. There's probably more. Oh, I think additionally we can say even things of the past. So maybe things like past mistakes or past failures. So these are some of the things that I feel like are a lot more common. And I don't know if I've covered everything, but you all are free to give me any, comments and things like that if there are other places where you feel like they come from as well. But so we have the outside voices kind of coming in, and then we internalize it. And those are the things that kind of can play over and over and over like a broken record to kind of tell us something about ourselves, to speak negativity into ourselves and into our life, which results in us being stuck basically in a place of like anti-progress, right? And so these things are super duper dangerous, especially if it happens to come from family. And I'm not sure if I've mentioned it online, but I know that I've mentioned it just in speaking with other people, that family is like the first institution that you are introduced to when you are born, right? So once you're given birth to, it's your mom, your dad, who or some other guardian, and you are brought into a home, with caretakers, or and siblings, and so on and so forth. So before you even go out into the world, you're in the home. And so it's very, very important that parents, caretakers, guardians are really doing their due diligence, not just to meet actual physical needs of children, but to actually tend to emotional needs as well, right? So it's very, very harmful for a child to grow up and hear certain things about like, man, why are you always doing that? You can't do anything right. Oh, you're so ugly, you're fat, you're this, you're like, you know what I mean? And it's been very, very like heartbreaking, almost, for me to even hear people that have gone through this, because it really just isn't fair, and it really is like bullying. You know what I mean? For you to tell a child this type of stuff, right? But this is super hard, for those of us that have dealt with this from family, because again, this is the first institution. And they say that babies are kind of like we're like sponges, right? So meaning that they will absorb and they learn quickly, and it just comes, they're just receive, receive, receive. So it's good to impart good so that they can receive good and be set up on good foundation. But what happens when what they're receiving is mostly negative and it's bad? They carry that even into their adult life. It's the way that they can even view the world, view people. It really influences and impacts the quality of life, or the life that they hold later down the line in life. So that is one that is, all of it is bad / dangerous, but that one is probably one of the, in my opinions, probably like the biggest one, because that's when you're super duper young, and it's like ingrained in you when you hear that from them, those type of things, right? And something I think additionally is hard too, is outside of the family point, is when you have certain things like when you're comparing yourself. So if you're thinking about society's standards or keeping up with the Joneses, right, you might use that as kind of like your standard or your rubric to measure how well are you doing. And so when you see somebody who's around your age and you see that, oh, like they're married, they have kids, they've got a house, and they've got, these degrees and whatever, and then you're just saying like, well, I didn't finish college, or I'm still in the process or whatever, and you can feel like, man, I'm like, compared to these guys, like, man, what am I doing with my life? And it's just like, honestly, you're making good progress in your life. Like, yes, everybody has their timeline, but you can now feel like because they've achieved XYZ and they're the same age as you, and you're just a little bit further behind, you can now internalize that and make it into something that is like, it's a you thing. Like, you're the failure, you're not good enough, you should have done this already, what's wrong with me, sort of thing, right? Additionally, our past, the failure. So even as we're pushing forward in life and we're trying to fight, sometimes those voices can still chase us. And that can really affect our self-esteem. So there's a whole bunch to this. I'm not going to make this super long, but these are just some examples, right? And so now we've kind of seen where it can come from or what the root is. Now what do we do, right? So whenever I get on these videos and I talk about these different topics, I don't want to just tell you or define things or tell you the root of things. I always got to try and give you something, right? So what do we do about this, right? And really, in a word, we want to be able to have life spoken into us, right? And so this is a task that isn't impossible to do on your own, but it can be hard. So I'll kind of go through different things that you can do on your own and or with a support system, because I think that would be very, very good if you have a support system. And so I'll kind of talk to you about what I've developed over time. So I am someone who, when I still do this now, but when I was getting into, seeking therapy to really pursue my healing and just understand like what is going on in this brain, how am I processing life, how do I grow past, how do I overcome these things. And one of the exercises that I was given, and what I would also impart to you, is the idea of being able to journal. And not just journal in general, but being able to pull out or write a list of the good qualities about yourself. So this might be super hard, especially if you typically have the bad record playing voices in your head going over and over again. This could be hard because you're used to the put downs, whether it comes from someone else or whether you are saying it to yourself. So what we want to do is, because these voices do not define us. I want you to really absorb this right now. These things do not define you. These different standards, if you don't hit this mark or if you don't hit that mark, that does not define you. If you've made a mistake or you failed in some sort of way, that does not define you. Not even your past has to define you. Okay? So that's something I really, really want us to, if there's a core thing that I would love for you to be able to receive, it's that. Right? And so when you're able to sit down and journal and root yourself in fact, then these voices, the things of your past, whatever it is that is holding you back, will lose its power. Right? So you want to be able to write these things down, meditate over them, get them in your mind so that you can offset and basically eventually kill these voices within yourself, right? So that's kind of like a solo thing you can do. So sometimes it ain't fancy or sexy. It's just really, sometimes it's just like I need to sit down somewhere and I need to just process and I need to clear out the noise because I've got a lot going on, right? And so the next piece, which is being able to have a support system, right? So when you're hearing all this stuff, wherever you might be getting it from family, from the people who should have been on your side, like your significant other, if for some reason that person is not giving you the support that you would have needed, it's good to have friends who do speak life into you. And I think you can even take a moment as well to really assess your friend group. Are they those that encourage you? Those that, if you're really, really feeling down, you can run and talk to them. And I know that for different circumstances, maybe you might not feel comfortable, not because they are not trustworthy, but because you might feel like, oh, well, I don't want to burden them. I've been there, right? So, but in general, seeing, having those good friends who will be able to pick you up and to be able to show you that, could support this point that I'm trying to portray to you or convey to you, about that these things do not define you. You have a lot to give. You are a unique person with unique passions and talents, and there are only things in this world that you can do. So you want those people who really can support you in your endeavors. You also want these friends to give you constructive criticism as well. So, they're not just the ones who are just going to flatter you 100% of the time, but they'll let you know if you're down a particular path right now that might be self-sabotaging, because, if these voices are loud enough, which they are for a lot of us, we can get into a cycle of self-sabotage. And so we as a result, we don't know how to receive good. We think that everything's a red flag, you know what I mean? And it's just like, so yeah, even the green flags be turning red. Sometimes the red ones be looking green, and it's just like your compass, your ability to discern these things are just all out of whack. So you need these people who can kind of keep you grounded, who are going to support you, but also give you constructive criticism. But regardless of the, constructive criticism, there are people, again, the detrimental voices that could then transform into self-condemnation if you internalize it, can come from critical people. But what you don't want is people to just keep putting your failures up like 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 an announcement board every single time, right? So constructive criticism is what you want. And if you're having trouble, subpoint, if you're having trouble really saying, is this constructive criticism or not, think about if it really helps you. You know what I mean? Criticism in general doesn't feel good, so I wouldn't say to strictly base it off of your feelings. But what I would say is, what does it produce? Does this comment that someone is giving me, does it actually help me grow in some way, or is it just like is it a put down, essentially? Like, what does it do? And that'll give you a sense of who's good support, and who's kind of like not really, but like might be a wolf in sheep's clothing, potentially. So you want that support system. And I think in addition to friends, or if you feel like you can't, I guess, trust other people, having a professional does help. So again, I have mentioned on this video and some others that one of the things that helped me was being able to have someone who counsels me. So I had a counselor, and that helped me be based in reality. So sometimes you might need that too. Maybe just someone who doesn't know you, but you're able to use them as a sounding board, and they're able to see things at a different point of view, not taking your side, not taking the other party's side or whatever might be involved in it, and just really being able to help you track that, and navigate that and be a support system to you. And what I will say is that if you do go this route, I would recommend choosing the right person, right? So you want the right therapist or counselor. You want the right life coach. You want the right XYZ, because a lot of people are qualified on paper. They might have the certifications or degrees or whatever it is, but they might not be right for you. They might be right for someone else, but not for you. So there's a whole slew of people doing this wonderful work, but are they the one for you? So that's what I want to give you. But it is really good to have a support system, because they will help you see things. They'll help you see the good. They'll help uproot you from some of those dark places as well, and they'll validate you. When you have a struggle and things that you're going through, they'll be able to say, yeah, I hear you, I understand that. And so you don't want to end up bottling all this stuff up and imploding. So I hope all of that made sense to you all. If there's anything that you would need clarity on in lieu of this topic, please do add comments. You can reach out to me. My contact info and ways I can be reached is in the description. And so, yeah, I wanted to just motivate some of us, because I really feel like, man, we're all going through it. I've been online and I've been seeing things, and I felt like this was timely. It was necessary, so that we can really combat these things and really go full force on our dreams and coming into the calling that we and the purpose that we should be fulfilling in our life. So yeah, there's going to be more on the way to really help you be the best that you can be. So I hope that you continue to stick with me on this journey, either seeing this content or and of course, if you are looking to have sessions with me, my website is up and updated with booking times. If there's any issue with it, please do reach out to me so that I can fix those things. But yeah, I'm all about wanting to see people grow and win and overcome. So thank you for supporting this channel and supporting me and just giving this your time. And yeah, until next time, I'll see all of you later. Take care.